This is a video for The Rules. What up, The Rules? He just did a video on friendship. And you've made a lot of these videos, The Rules, and I wonder if you've watched your own videos. And like rewatched them and then thought about like you as if you weren't you, you know? Like, what's up with this guy? I remember, like, I'll never forget this one video you filmed out in front of a pool hall, and you're like on the other side of the glass on the sidewalk. There's people inside having a great time, and you know, you're on the outside looking in. That was such a fantastic metaphor. Have you thought about that, The Rules? Of why that's such a fantastic metaphor? Emil on the outside looking in. And what would it take to walk in there and play pool with those guys? And you talk about your different background, that's true. And your Russian upbringing, being, you know, like, you're always going to be different. I mean, you're different. See, the thing is, like, you go back to your hometown, and you're different there too. You're not different because of, I mean, you're different because of everything. Not particular any one thing, but because of everything. And you know, so am I. That's probably why I've made so many videos towards you, because I recognize a lot of me and you, a lot of you and me. But one thing, Emil, that you constantly ignore is, in a society, in a group, even between one other person, you have to sacrifice a lot, dude. That's why I don't have very many friends. Like, having a couple good friends is a wonderful pleasure, a fantastic, rewarding experience. You talked about, like, being able to call somebody up and say, hey man, you want to meet for drinks? That's wonderful to have somebody like that. Or like, say, like, oh my gosh, like, I could take care of this one thing, but I just wonder if you could help me. And they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to help you. Because, you know, friends help each other out occasionally. But if you wanted more friends, Emil, if you wanted that one particular girl that you could call up for sex or something, nothing big, just a blowjob. It won't take long. I don't get what the problem is. If you wanted that, you would have to figure out what you don't get what the problem is with yourself. Like, you get in your own way. Don't try to deny it. I'm not trying to be mean. You get in the way of what you want. I've seen it over and over again with you and Todd. And like, that worst one was when, like, you got angry at Todd for, like, I think waking you up when you guys were staying together. How do you get out of your own way, The Rules? I'll give you a basic formula. You have to kind of talk to people like you're in a commercial, let's say, or a family comedy. You have to be kind, attentive. You don't get all the lines, man. You're not the star in a situation comedy. You're not the star in the episode of The Rules Plays Pool with a bunch of people you met at the bar. They're also supporting roles, but you need to treat them all like they're the star. What they are saying is what's interesting, and that's the focus. What they are doing is interesting, and that's the focus. You know? Praise their shots. Nod and understand. Nod while you're understanding what they're saying, and if they're not understanding, saying like, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Like, could you tell me more about what you're saying? I find it interesting. You know, and like, you know, you support them. That's what you're talking about, like having somebody to call to go see a movie, or have someone that wants to call and have them come over to your house. They're only going to do that if they feel fully and totally supported and liked by you. It's so, I mean, that's the thing too about, like, if you spend a lot of time around anybody, it's difficult not to say anything that might offend them. I mean, they really have to trust that you care about them. Like, stuff that comes out of my mouth, like I have I have a little bit better filter than you do, Emil. So when I'm around somebody, I have to be careful what I say. And someone really has to get to a point of friendship where I could finally, like, I don't have to worry about that much. We've talked about this in the forum, and you're like, I don't want to have to change who I am. And you don't. All you need to do is change how you interact with people. And if you are not kind, attentive, interested in them, then you probably shouldn't be their friend. But if you are those things, then you're not changing who you are by just bringing those things to the forefront. You know? And chances are there's going to be no way you're ever going to like be able to pull back your rulesness and say some obnoxious, crazy stuff. And then you're just going to say, like, I'm sorry, sometimes I get carried away and I say some stupid shit. My apologies. And then drop it. If you drop it, they'll drop it. Don't do it. Don't try not to do that very often. But always catch yourself. I'm sorry, sometimes I get awkward when in social situations and I just say crazy stuff because I'm uncomfortable. I'll try to stop. Who wants a beer? Alright, the rules. I think that's just about it. That's about it. You know, there are a lot of videos on how to be a good friend. I think there's a channel called Charisma on Demand. That's kind of... I mean, it might be a good place to start. Like, sometimes I watch that guy and I think that, like, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. But sometimes he has a rough idea, and it's a good place to start. And you start thinking about social etiquette, social cues. What do people like about other folks? What are common denominators on people who are well liked? George Clooney. People love George Clooney. Tom Hanks. So I guess the rule is you got to ask yourself, can you be a combination of Tom Hanks and George Clooney? Ask yourself that. Start practicing. Oh, look at this. Someone's built it deepy. All right, goodbye, the rules. Thanks for your time.